Happy Friday, friends, and welcome back to another episode of Thriving Thoughts. I am your host, Dr. Sherri. I'm so excited to be here with you today to talk a little bit more about thriving, about growth. Today, we are going to talk about pearls of discretion. You guys may have heard a few things about pearls, or seen a few things about pearls on your social media news feed or on the news, but we're not going to talk really about actual physical pearls that you wear. We are going to talk about the pearls, the gifts that you have to offer the world. So this message is specifically for my fellow messengers. Those of us who are speakers, writers, coaches, bloggers, vloggers, podcasters, hey, my fellow messengers, you have something to share. You have a valuable message. And as you know, I've been pursuing wisdom lately, pursuing it like pretty hard, y'all, pretty hard. And I keep getting these revelations. Earlier in the week, I posted a quote on social media that said our growth, or the fruit of our growth, is intended to give to other people, not to keep to ourselves, because if we keep it to ourselves, it rots, right? We usually produce more fruit than we can eat. Like if you have a garden, you produce more vegetables, more things than you can eat. So you look for neighbors to give it to, things like that, right? But today we're going to take that one step further. We're going to talk about valuing your pearls and using discretion to give your pearls. Now, before we can talk about giving your message, let me just take a very quick step back. We can do another episode about this later, but right now, let's just look at the foundation. Before you can have wisdom about who to give your gift to, you have to believe that your gift is valuable. You have to believe that your message that you have to offer the world is valuable. If you consider yourself a messenger, let me ask you right now on a scale of 1 to 10, how valuable do you believe your message is? If you are anywhere below a 10, we need to have a chat. Email me at thrivingthoughtswithdrsherri@gmail.com or just message me on Facebook or Instagram. I can help you get to a 10. But in the meantime, here's a little reason that your gift is 100% valuable. If you have a desire in your heart to give something to somebody, if you have a desire, like it's just bursting within you and you have this fruit and you want to give it away and you want other people to know about it. You want other people to celebrate it as much as you do. You're very passionate, right? And you're pursuing that deliberately through whatever means you're doing, speaking, coaching, writing, podcasting, whatever it is. Maybe you're a newbie, maybe you're an entrepreneur. You don't know what that method of delivery looks like yet, but you have a message and you believe in it. Let me tell you why you believe in it. The root of the word desire, a desire that you have, is desire. Desire is a Latin word. Did y'all know I took Latin for 6 years? I know. Who would take a dead language for 6 years? But I do have to say it's helped me with vocabulary. Anyway, back to the growth lesson at hand. The Latin word desire literally means like if you separate it, desire, of the heavens. Okay? From above. From the Father. From the heavens. So if you have a desire in you, guess where it came from? What? It came from your Creator. And if He put it in you, He has every intention of using you to get it out and put it out in the world. And that means, my friends, whatever is in you is beyond valuable. It's straight from God. And we are going to use pearls as an analogy here, okay? What's inside of you? It's pearls. It's a beautiful, expensive gift. I've never even owned a string of pearls, maybe some fake ones or some cultured ones, but I've never owned a set of pearls. So I didn't even have anything to slap on for this episode as an example. But pearls, you have pearls of wisdom, of hope, of encouragement, of strategy, of planning, of deliberation, of systems, of motivation, whatever your pearls are, you have them inside of you, of the heavens, of the Father to give to other people. There's no doubt about that. You know that. You're convinced of that. And here's where we have to, as messengers, step up our game if we are to honor the gift of pearls that is inside of us. You see, that gift does not come without obligation. It does not come without responsibility. So we have an obligation to utilize discretion with regard to whom we give our pearls. You see, our pearls, my pearls, your pearls, they're not for everybody. And I know you've probably heard that before, that your pearls aren't for everybody. Your message isn't for everybody. If everybody needed you, you would be used up. So thank God that there's a select audience, a select avatar, however you want to look at it. There's people, your people. They're out there and they're just waiting for you. But they're also waiting for you to use wisdom, to use discretion, to speak to them, to form an intimate community in which your message, your gift can grow further, can thrive. Have you ever given somebody a gift? And this has happened to me a couple of times in my life. And they get it and they're like, oh, this is great. This is exactly what I wanted. But then they don't use it. I actually gave somebody a gift that they had been asking for, and it literally sat unopened for like a month. And I remember inside feeling this kind of resentment, like they said they wanted this, right? This is what they asked me for, and I gave it to them, but there it sits. And I can't help but feel unappreciated, undervalued, unnoticed, dismissed. Like, what was my effort for, right? Similarly, have you ever given somebody a gift card, or have you ever run into anybody who says, oh yeah, I got this gift card for Christmas like a year ago, but I haven't used it. And it's not that they didn't value it. They had it in their wallet, but they didn't need it. So they saved it. And sometimes that's legitimate. Sometimes our words are like seeds. Our pearls are like seeds, and they fall on ears at a time where they just are planted and they'll be used at a later date. But I want you to maximize your reach and your fulfillment, your effectiveness, right? Your influence, because God gave you a gift to deliver, but you got to deliver it to the people who need it and who are going to hear it. I envision our message like a necklace of pearls. And I was reading the book of Proverbs the other day, and I'm just going to read this to you. The book of Proverbs, chapter 3, verses 21 to 23 says, keep sound wisdom and discretion, right? So they will be life to your soul and grace to your neck. Discretion. Discretion is grace. Do you hear that? It's grace. It's a grace for you to put energy and effort into tightening your circle, making your audience smaller, tighter, more valuable. Because look, when you hand out those pearls, when you hand out a piece of you that was created to give to other people, when you do that, one of two things is going to happen. It's either going to be used and consumed and treasured and valued, or it's going to fall to the floor and be wasted. It's going to rot like fruit does sometimes when it's not eaten. Let me give you another visual to really drive this point home. Proverbs chapter 11, verse 22 says, as a ring of gold in a swine's snout, swine being pig, right? So is a lovely woman who lacks discretion. Listen, discretion is part of wisdom. It's part of wisdom. It's knowing who to give it to, when to give it, how to give it. We're not going to cover the when and the how today, just the who. And we're not even going to dig deep into the who, into the strategy of figuring out your who. Your heart knows your who. You know right now, if you look at your audience, who your people are and who they're not. But here's what happens. It's not that you become a ring in the pig's snout, right? That's not what that's saying. But it's saying you're going to feel like one. You're going to feel like you're just in the mud. Mud's being caked over you. Nobody's noticing you. You're going to start to feel useless. And that might even cause you to compromise your your other pearls, your remaining pearls. It might cause you to question them, to doubt the very thing from God that you have to give to the world. And let me go back to Proverbs 3, verse 23 finishes up by saying this: when you have that discretion, when it's a grace to your neck, you will walk safely in your way. So you can be confident that if you're using discretion to pick your people, to tighten your circle, to make it smaller, if you're doing that, you can be sure that you will walk safely in the way of delivering of that obligation, safely in the way of that obligation of delivering your gift of pearls of wisdom to other people who need it and who will use it. You know, I always talk about speaking truth over the lies, and you might be thinking, Sherri, how does this relate to thriving thoughts and truth over lies? Let me tell you how. Because if we don't use discretion in choosing our people, it's because we are believing the lie that we have to have this big platform, this huge following. And so we get hung up on reactions and comments and shares and engagement. In general, we get hung up on the quantity of that rather than the quality of that. Let me tell you some truth. I don't want the whole world following me. I don't want to be used up. I want my message, the gift that God gave me, to be sacred. I want it to be treasured and used by the people who are ready to treasure and use it, by those people who need it. And sometimes that's not my friends and family. I know that's painful, right? Your family and friends, they love you. Yeah. But maybe they don't need your message. Maybe you just need them to encourage you to use discretion. Maybe you can talk with them. Hey, do you think this section of people is my people, or do you think this section is? When we believe the lie of comparison, we get off course. We become totally distracted from developing and shining and giving those pearls of wisdom. Instead, we try to make our pearls look like everybody else's. I want a small community of partakers of my wisdom, which is ultimately God's wisdom. I don't want groupies. I don't even want a hashtag that goes worldwide. Maybe that's a desire in some of you. But my guess is that's the rare exception. I've really been learning to use discretion in who I reach and to not be offended or discouraged when I feel like maybe I'm not reaching enough people. Let me tell you one thing I did to really find my people. I started this texting community, and I just said, I'm going to text you a few times a week. I'm going to give you some encouragement. I'm going to give you some challenge. I'm going to give you some of my pearls. And if you want that, if that's where you are right now, where you can honestly say that you need that you're going to treasure that you're going to use it, then come and join my community. There's very little skin in the game. There is skin to be had for sure. It's $2.99 a month, $2.99 a month, or $29 for the year. But because there's a little bit of skin in the game, I want you to hear this. I have a little less than 40 people in that community. And you might think, Sherri, 40? Yeah. In that community, I have less than 40 people, and I love it. I get so much fulfillment from it because they are taking my pearls. I text them, and they can text me back, and we chat, and I encourage them. And there's no limit to that. It's like I'm your personal fellow traveler on this journey of thriving thoughts, of being fulfilled. And that's my heart's desire. So I'm honored to share my pearls with that community. If you are one of my people who wants to be challenged and wants to be encouraged more to identify those lies and learn how to speak truth over them so that you can, truly thrive, grow, flourish, prosper. If you're like, pick me, that's me. You're my person. I want you in my circle. And if you're not, that's okay too. But if you are, this is my personal invitation to you. Just text the word thrive, THRIVE, to 540-369-2139. Also, my friends, if you are my people and you know somebody else who might be somebody that I want to serve, somebody that is deserving, will use and value and treasure the gifts that I'm offering, do me the honor of sharing. Share this episode with them. If not, that's okay too. My obligation here on earth is not to build my audience. My obligation is to share my pearls of wisdom and use discretion in the process. I hope you'll join me in using discretion to tighten your circle and target the recipients of the gift that you've been given from above. Please join me on Monday for another episode of Thriving Thoughts, another interview. Until then, my friends, please remember to speak truth over the lies, and you will thrive in any and every circumstance.